Namaskar. The topic of discussion in this lesson is on the land use in Western India. All of you are aware that India is a large and diverse country. Its geographical area includes some of the world's highest rainfall zone to the level of very dry deserts, then coastline to alpine regions, and then from river deltas to tropical islands. These are ranging from the rainforest of Kerala in the south to the alpine pastures of Ladakh hills in the north, from the deserts of Rajasthan in the west to the evergreen forest in the northeast. So, if you look at this, India has a diverse range of landforms. Land is a valuable natural resource utilized for various human activities. It may be the cultivation of crops, settlement of population, creation of dams and reservoirs, development of industries, and maintenance of forests and wildlife. For all these types of activities, we depend on the land. Any kind of permanent or cyclic intervention of a land is called as the land use. It is the surface utilization of a vacant land or a developed land for a particular purpose at a given time. The utility value and the type of land use depend on several factors. The important factors are geographic location, physiographic condition, availability of water resources, fertility of soil, proximity to other human activities. All of them are controlling factors of a land. The land use distribution in India has been mapped for several years and finalized by the National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization. For a better understanding, the country is spatially divided into several plates as maps. We shall try to learn them with reference to these plates, and for convenience sake, we have classified them into regions called geographic regions, and in this series of land use of India, we are going to see them with reference to the following regions: the land use of northern India, the land use of central India, the land use of western India, the land use of eastern India, and the land use of southern India. The land use of western India are explained in this lesson. The aspects which are covered in this lesson are the general classification of land use of Delhi plate, land use of Jaipur plate, land use of Rajkot plate, and land use of Bhopal plate. So, we will be seeing the distribution of land use with reference to these plates, which are displayed in the form of maps. Let us see the first part, the general classification of land use. A large number of land use types and categories have been worked out by various researchers in different organizations. The classification of land into various uses and how these uses change over time will provide the background information for proper planning of these land resources. In India, out of the total geographical area of 328.73 million hectares, almost 93% of the total land has been properly mapped, and we have the land use statistics for almost 305 million hectares of land areas. The land use is basically classified into the following major types. The first one is agricultural lands, the second one is forest lands, the third one is non-agricultural lands, fourth one belongs to grazing lands, and the fifth one belongs to unproductive lands. The agricultural land includes irrigated cropland, unirrigated cropland, and plantation areas. Forests are central to many human activities. The forest areas are classified into reserved forests, protected forests, and unclassed forests. The term forest here means a reserved forest, protected forest, unclassed forest and the village forests. They also include some wastelands and rangelands. Forest lands are notified by the government to develop, protect and conserve the forest resources including the wildlife. The recorded forest area is the geographic area recorded as forest area in the government records. Reserved forests are the forest areas constituted under the provisions of the Indian Forest Act or other state forest acts, and we have the full degree of control and protection in these reserved forest regions. In reserved forest regions, all activities are prohibited unless permitted by the government. Protected forest is an area notified under the provisions of the Indian Forest Act 1927 and also the other state forest acts. They have limited degree of protection. In protected forests, all activities are permitted unless prohibited. These areas include national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. The unclassed forest areas are lands that are not classified as reserved or protected forests, but they are with the government. The non-agricultural lands are classified into urban settlements, mining areas and rural settlements, sandy zones, rocky zones, saline zones, badlands and snowfields. Based on these types of categories of land use patterns, the land use of different areas of India have been properly mapped by the National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization. Let us see the distribution pattern of land use in different parts of this region. The first one is the land use of Delhi Plate. The distribution of land use in Delhi region is seen in this map. This area is bordered with Pakistan in the west. Physiographically, this region comprises of the Shivalik ranges of the Himalayas in the northeast, Punjab plains, Haryana plains and Malwa plains, Rajasthan Bagar in the middle, Marustali arid regions in the southwest and Gangetic plains in the east bordering Yamuna river. In this region, bajra, jowar, fodder, gram and millets are grown as major crops. It shows Amritsar and Jalandhar in the north, Simla and Chandigarh in the northeast, Bikaner in the southwest, Firozpur and Ganganagar in the west, Patiala in the middle and New Delhi in the southeast. This region is drained by Sutlej river in the west and Yamuna river in the east. The prevailing land use patterns are agricultural land, forests, non-agricultural land, grazing land and unproductive lands. The forest areas are confined to the northeastern parts around Shimla, Hamirpur, Mandi and Chandigarh regions. Reserved and protected and unclassed forests are distributed all around Shimla hills. The agricultural land includes irrigated cropland, unirrigated cropland and plantation areas. The irrigated croplands are very vast in the northern zone around Amritsar, Jalandhar, Ludhiana and Firozpur areas. In the central zone around Jind, Rohtak and Karnal areas. In the western zone around Ganganagar and Patinta areas. In the southern zone around New Delhi and Rohtak regions. In the eastern zone around Meerut, Muzaffarnagar and Saharanpur regions. The southern region of this map show a distinct and vast unirrigated cropland from Bikaner in the west to the Narnaul in the east. Tea plantations are confined to the elevated forest regions around the places like Hamirpur and Mandi north of Shimla. The non-agricultural land includes urban settlements, mining areas and rural settlements. The major urban areas of this region are Amritsar, Jalandhar, Chandigarh, Ambala, Saharanpur, Muzaffarnagar, Rohtak, Meerut, New Delhi and Bikaner. Let us see the land use of Jaipur plate. The distribution of land use in Jodhpur, Jaipur, Udaipur region is seen in this map. Physiographically, this region comprises of the Rajasthan Bagar and the Aravalli ranges. India's prominent places including Jaipur in the north, Kota in the middle, Jodhpur in the west and Udaipur in the south are located in this region. This region is drained by Chambal river and parts of Yamuna river. If we look at the prevailing land use patterns of this region, we could see the distribution of agricultural lands, forests, non-agricultural lands, grazing lands and unproductive lands. The agricultural land includes irrigated croplands, unirrigated croplands and plantation areas. The irrigated croplands are distributed along the Chambal and Yamuna river courses and their floodplains. They are distributed in the northern parts around Mathura, in the central part around Kota. The major crops grown in the irrigated zones are wheat, bajra and grams. The minor crops grown in the irrigated zones are sesamum, mustard, rapeseeds and oil seeds. The major crops grown in the unirrigated zones are pulses, gram, maize, cotton, bajra and jowar. The minor crops grown in the unirrigated zones are groundnut, linseed, castor and sesamum. Reserved forests are seen around Kota, Savai Madhupur, Gandhi Sagar, upper parts of Aravalli hills and also in the Morina plateaus. The non-agricultural lands of this region in India includes both urban settlements and rural settlements. The major urban areas of this region are Jaipur, Jodhpur, Ajmer, Madura, Kota, Udaipur, Bhilwara, Guna, Chittargarh, Alwar, Bharatpur, Shivpuri, Savai Madhupur and Pathanpur. This region also contains a good amount of grazing land with scrubs. The scrub lands are distributed in the central parts of the Aravalli hill ranges, South Mewar upland and also in the Alwar hills. This region is also characterized by a vast area of unproductive land consisting of sandy zone around the Yamuna river and also the rocky zone around the Alwar uplands. Let us see the land use of Rajkot plate. The distribution of land use in the Rajkot Jamnagar region is seen in this map. This area is bordered by Pakistan in the west and also Arabian Sea in the south. Physiographically, this region comprises of the Kathiawar Peninsula and also the Kutch Peninsula in India. India's prominent places including Barmer, Pokhran and Jaisalmer in the north, Radhanpur, Patri and Dasada in the middle, Mandvi and Jamnagar in the southwest and Rajkot, Junagadh, Damnagar and Surendranagar in the south are located in this region. This region is drained by Banas and Luni rivers. If we look at the prevailing land use patterns of this region, we could see the distribution of agricultural lands, forests, non-agricultural lands, grazing lands and unproductive lands. The agricultural land includes irrigated croplands, unirrigated croplands and plantation areas. The irrigated croplands are distributed only in a small portion, especially in the southern part around Drangadra, Halwad and Jaipur regions. The major crops grown in the irrigated zone is wheat. The unirrigated croplands are distributed over a vast region, especially in the northern parts around Balmer, in the central part around Radhanpur, in the western part around Bhuj, in the eastern part around Surendranagar, in the southern part around Junagadh and Rajkot, and also in the Jamnagar regions. The major crops grown in the unirrigated zones are bajra, pulses, cotton, groundnut and jowar. The minor crops grown in the unirrigated zones are sesamum, castor and wheat. The distinctive feature of this area in India is the Kutch and Kathiawar peninsular regions with a vast coastal belt. The forest areas of this region are very small, which include reserved and unclassed forests. Reserved forests are seen in places around Jamwala, Barda Hills and Girnar Hills, both urban settlements and rural settlements. The major urban areas of this region are Jamnagar, Rajkot, Porbandar, Junagadh, Bhuj and Surendranagar. This region also contains a good amount of grazing lands covered by grass and scrubs. The grasslands are confined to the Banni region in the Kutch Peninsula. The scrublands are distributed in the middle of Kutch Peninsula and also in Kathiawar Peninsula regions. Disseminated scrublands are also seen in the northern areas. This region is also characterized by a vast area of unproductive land consisting of sandy zones and saline zones. The sandy zones are distributed in northern areas as a part of the Thar desert. The saline zones are very vast in this region. They are spread over the middle parts covering most of the Kutch Peninsula. Let us see the land use of Bhopal plate. The distribution of land use in Ahmedabad, Indore, Bhopal, Surat and Amravati region is seen in this map. This area is bordered by the Gulf of Khambat and also the Arabian Sea in the west. Physiographically, this region comprises of the Malwa Plateau, the Satpura hill ranges and also the Vindhyan mountains. India's prominent places including Ratlam, Ujjain in the north, Bhopal in the northeast, Ahmedabad in the northwest, Indore in the middle, Bhavnagar and Surat in the west are the important places located in this region. If we look at the prevailing land use patterns of this region, we could see the distribution of agricultural lands, forests, non-agricultural lands, grazing lands and unproductive lands. The agricultural land includes irrigated croplands, unirrigated croplands and plantation areas. The irrigated croplands are distributed in the western part around the floodplain areas of Sabarmati river and also in the southern part around the deltaic coastal region of the Tapti river. The major crops grown in the irrigated zones are rice, sugarcane, mango, groundnut, sesamum and gram. The unirrigated croplands are distributed in the northern parts around Ujjain to Bhopal, Ahmedabad and also in the central part around Indore, Jalgaon and Dhule, in the western part around Vadodara and Bhavnagar and also in the eastern parts around Amravati and Akola regions. The major crops grown in the unirrigated zones are wheat, cotton, jowar, pulses, bajra, maize and rice. The minor crops grown in the unirrigated zones are linseed, sesamum, groundnut, arhar, chili, sugarcane, jhum, ragi, fodder and meesta. The forest areas of this region include reserved forests, protected forests and unclassed forests. Reserved forests are seen around Vindhya Satpura mountain regions. Unclassed forests are seen in the western region from north to south as a continuous stretch. The non-agricultural lands of this region in India includes both urban settlements and rural settlements. The major urban settlement areas of this region are Ratlam, Ujjain, Bhopal, Ahmedabad, Indore, Bhavnagar, Surat, Daman, Silvassa, Amravati and Jalgaon places. This region also contains some isolated patches of grazing lands covered by grass and scrub. The grasslands and scrublands are confined to the Sondwara plateau in the northern part. This region is also characterized by a vast area of unproductive land consisting of sandy zone in the coastal areas, saline zone and badlands in one or two places. The economic value of a region depends on the properties of a land use. Land use is also an emerging socio-economic activity wherein a region of one major activity may be changed into another activity by conversion. While converting, we change the nature of the land use and the kind of use in which it is handled by the human beings. Population explosion, demand for increased production of commodities, establishment of varieties of infrastructural facilities like road networks, airports, layouts, flyovers, bridges and canals and such other activities may force people to convert one land use to that of the other. While doing so, we may be sometimes disturbing the natural ecosystems also. So, land use planning is an important aspect to be studied. Land use planning is a separate branch of study in geography, geology, town planning, architecture, forestry, agriculture, civil and environmental engineering and in development studies. Proper land use is required for long-term sustainable development. Land use is an important aspect to be considered for all developmental activities in geography.